Today we're taking a look at these NFL matches, which are happening on Thursday, September 29, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you 2 betting picks for each game, a team pick and a total pick based on facts and detailed explanation. So make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Miami Dolphins vs Cincinnati Bengals. Miami will be looking to complete an unbeaten month of September on Thursday night. The Dolphins opened the season with an important divisional win over New England at home, winning in a 27 final. They then played one of the craziest games of the season, erasing a 21-point deficit in a 42-38 win at Baltimore. Miami was able to back that win up at home in Week 3, taking down this year's Super Bowl favorite, Buffalo. The Dolphins exploded offensively against Baltimore, but their win against the Bills was more of a defensive grind. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa threw for just 186 yards after throwing for 469 yards at Baltimore. Burrow has completed 64.0% of his passes for 812 yards, 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He is playing behind an offensive line that has been terrible this year, allowing 15 sacks. The rushing attack has not been able to get going either, with Joe Mixon averaging just 2.8 yards per carry on 58 attempts. Burrow has scrambled for 73 yards on 15 carries, averaging 4.9 yards per attempt. Wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase has caught 21 passes for 212 yards and 2 touchdowns, while T. Higgins has 13 receptions for 191 yards. They are facing a Miami defense that has struggled, ranked number 31 in yards allowed per game, 413.7. Cincinnati entered the season with high expectations after making an improbable run to the Super Bowl last year, but it had a very disappointing start to the year. The Bengals were upset by Pittsburgh in an overtime thriller in Week 1 as they blew several opportunities to win the game in the latter stages. They followed that up with another upset loss as Dallas picked up a 2017 win with a backup quarterback under center. Cincinnati was able to get back on track last week as the Bengals blew out the Jets in a 27-12 win. Quarterback Joe Burrow threw for 275 yards in the victory. Running backs Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert are each averaging 3.3 yards per carry, while wide receivers Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle have combined for more than 650 receiving yards. Waddle is dealing with a groin injury and is listed as questionable for this game, while Tagovailoa is probable to play through a back issue. Their offense ranks number 13 in the NFL, averaging 355.3 yards per game. They are facing a Cincinnati defense that is number 9, allowing 310.7 yards per contest. This line has moved through a key number after Cincinnati opened as a 2-point favorite. I am still happy to back the Bengals as 3.5-point favorites, though. Miami has been lucky to pick up a few of its wins this season, particularly its comeback win over Baltimore. The Dolphins are also dealing with a few key injuries, including Tagovailoa and Waddle. They are facing a Cincinnati team that bounced back from a rough start to the year with a blowout win over the Jets last week. The Bengals have covered the spread in 9 of their last 11 games, including 4 of their last 5 home games. Miami does not have a defensive front to take advantage of Cincinnati's bad offensive line, which makes the Bengals an easy pick on Thursday night. Our team pick is Cincinnati minus 3.5 points. The Miami Dolphins have been pushing the ball downfield, and that means they will have to make sure the ball finds the hands of wide receiver Jalen Waddle. On the season, he has recorded 19 catches on 30 targets for 342 yards, 18 yards per reception, with 3 receiving touchdowns through the air, and a pair of carries for 17 yards, 8.5 yards per rushing attempt. In his last game against the Buffalo Bills, Waddle finished with 4 receptions on 6 targets for 102 yards, 25.5 yards per catch, with 0 touchdowns for the first time this season through the air, and a 9-yard rushing attempt in the game. This offense is going to look completely different with Tua Tagovailoa's availability on a short week, and that will change the complete outlook of the offense as a whole. The offense of the Cincinnati Bengals have been relying on the ability of wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase to get open against the opposing secondary, as he has been struggling thus far compared to his standards. He has 21 receptions on 35 targets for 212 yards, 10.1 yards per catch, with a pair of touchdown receptions through the air, as well as 3 rushing attempts for 2 yards, 0.7 yards per carry, on the ground. On Sunday against the New York Jets, Chase was pretty quiet as he finished with 6 catches on 10 targets for 29 yards, 4.8 yards per reception, with a touchdown grab, as well as 2 carries for -2 yards, -1 yard per carry, while also losing a fumble in the game. If he can figure out how to have a bigger game than he did here, he needs to step up. The Cincinnati Bengals have been a good defensive team up to this point, as they are allowing 18.3 points on 324 total yards per game this season. In their last game against the New York Jets, they gave up 12 points on 328 total yards of offense, 252 passing, 76 rushing. Their biggest plus was the fact they were able to force the Jets to commit 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions, with defensive tackle B.J. Hill grabbing both fumble recoveries throughout the game. They also were strong in the red zone as they forced the Jets to not score on either of their 2 red zone attempts during the entire game. If they can continue to build off their good game defensively, it could be a sign of the tides turning. Miami took their first lead of the game on a 2-yard touchdown run by Chase Edmonds in the fourth quarter. Jalen Waddle contributed 102 receiving yards on 4 catches for the Dolphins, who won despite possessing the ball for less than 20 minutes. The Cincinnati Bengals have stumbled out of the gate and are trying to find some improvement on the offensive line. Last week, Cincinnati's defense forced 4 turnovers en route to a 27-12 road triumph against the New York Jets. The Bengals, 1-2, were 7 for 14 on third downs and averaged 5 yards per play. Third-year QB Joe Burrow torched the New York secondary for 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tyler Boyd added 4 catches for 105 yards and a 56-yard score for the Bengals. The defense of the Miami Marlins have been doing a good job so far against superb offensive teams, as they are giving up 21.3 points on 426.3 total yards per game. In their previous game against the Buffalo Bills, the Dolphins allowed 497 total yards, 382 passing, 115 rushing. The defense has to improve drastically as they allowed Buffalo to go 11 of 18 on third down attempts, while also going 2 of 3 on fourth down conversions throughout the game. The biggest factor was their ability to defend against a running game, as the Bills ran the ball 23 times for 115 yards, 5 yards per carry, but they were able to keep them out of the end zone in the rushing game. Neither team is going to have many turnovers as through 3 games, Miami has 4 total forced turnovers, while Cincinnati is currently at 4 total forced turnovers. These punters have been doing pretty well as Cincinnati punter Kevin Huber is averaging 41.1 net yards per attempt, while Miami is averaging 39.5 punting net yards per attempt. Cincinnati has been doing well defensively as they are giving up 2 touchdown passes and 2 interceptions through 3 games, while Miami has given up 6 touchdowns and 1 interception. That means not many touchdowns will be scored, plus we have Tua's injuries that can make him less than 100% if he even suits up. The under has hit in each of their last 5 games against one another played in Cincinnati, so go with under 47.5 points in this game.